You guys knew that we weren't going to get through this podcast without me mentioning Giannis. So here we go. This is the Giannis conversation we're going to have here right now. So Ben Simmons, everyone talks about the three-point shot. Forget about it. Just forget it. It doesn't matter. It's not going to happen at this point. He's already 24, 25. Maybe he could get it to the point where he's shooting 30% like Giannis, but how does Giannis still defend it at the three-point line? He's not, because it doesn't matter. At this point in his career, what he needs to develop is something within the arc, in the post. And if he's not that primary ball handler, then you can get him in different positions. You can get him the ball in the elbow. You can get him the ball on the baseline, and he can post up. And what we saw in this series against Atlanta was that he literally only has one move. He dribbles a couple of times from the right baseline, will chuck up a little right hook that looks very uncomfortable. He doesn't necessarily have great touch on it. So when it comes to Ben Simmons and you're talking about the development, I think that he needed to hit his low point and fail, and to really spark that change in him. So if you go back 2 seasons ago, they lose to Kawhi Leonard on one of the most miraculous shots of all time. So you can give yourself a pass and say, okay, well, look, we lost this series, but we were a miraculous shot away from the conference finals. Then, we get Milwaukee. Maybe we win a title, and this isn't even the conversation. The year after, he's injured, and then this is the low point that we've seen here. So again, I can't predict a team that he wants to go to, but I don't think that we should be dismissing that he's not willing to develop, because I think that this is the exact moment that potentially he needed to get to the point where he's like, okay, yeah, things need to change. And Olgun is right. He needs to be not the primary ball handler in the half court.
So there's always been the comparison between Ben and Giannis, because both are just big ball handlers, really great defenders, and have the freight train potential, right? Whereas and Giannis has clearly reached that point, and Ben Simmons, I think, still has that potential, but has never reached it. Kane, do you think it's the difference outside of Giannis being probably, a bit more skilled and a bit more athletic and all those sorts of things? Do you think a lot of it just comes down to Giannis's willingness to shoot the three ball, to be aggressive in the post, to attack mismatches when they come, and just overall just being more assertive and looking at the rim, as opposed to what we see from Ben, which is he's very passive at times. Do you think that's such a big difference? Do you think that's like the key difference between the two?
Yeah, I mean, you pointed to it. I do think that there's probably just more skill with Giannis in general. I mean, you have to have that ability to develop that. But I think there's no question that you can't look at those two and say that it isn't one. Work ethic. Giannis is known as one of the absolute hardest workers in the league year on year. He doesn't stop. So when you talk about a guy that goes, that says, I'm going to go in the offseason, I'm going to come back with something new, you believe it when Giannis says it. And here we are on this podcast scoffing at the fact that Ben Simmons says he's going to work on skill development in the offseason. Everyone's laughing and saying, we haven't seen anything from you. So that's the big thing there. And the other thing is you have to be willing to fail. Everyone talks about that situation in that game 7 yesterday where Ben Simmons had a wide open dunk and passed it off. Now, clearly his confidence was rock bottom, but Ben Simmons has been scared to fail. And when you look at Giannis and he's out there in a game 7, airballing free throws, next time he walks up, swish. He'll airball the 3-point shot. 2 minutes later, he'll shoot another one, miss, shoot another one, and make it. You also have to be able to be willing to put yourself in a position to fail, and we haven't seen that from Ben. He's played it safe. He's played it safe, and what that results in is a guy that is not only his teammates are scared to give him the ball in the fourth quarter, but he looked like he didn't want the ball in the fourth quarter, and it's just not tenable.